Hey guys, welcome back to the Project DIY channel. On today's project, we're going to install a towing wiring harness on my 2020 Rav4. Let's get started. Alright, fall is here. Best time of the year to go camping. Weather's cool, colors are beautiful, especially here in Kentucky. Just the best time to go camping. Now, I just recently bought this 2020 Rav4. Did not come with a tow package. So, installed a tow hitch and tried to video that, but working up underneath the car was very difficult. There's no way I could film it. So I went ahead and put the hitch on. The next thing I got to take care of is I got to put a wiring harness on here. Of course, trailers, as everybody knows, come with plugs that plug into your car, and that gives you brake lights, tail lights, running lights, turn signals, emergency flashers, etc. So what I've got here is a Kurt custom wiring harness, and that's number 56434. And what this wiring harness does, it allows you to tee in to the wiring harness in your car that's running to your brake lights, and that gives you tail lights, brake lights, all that on your trailer. Now, in addition to that, I haven't decided whether I'm going to install this or not, but I also have it's called a license plate light plug, and it is supposed to fit in the hole where a license plate light is on like a truck. You've seen the older trucks with steel bumpers that have this hole for the license plate light. Well, this is supposed to fit in that hole. And what I'm thinking that I want to do, instead of having that plug hanging down out here, is drill in the right size hole in my plastic bumper, installing this plug, and then on the back side of the plugs, you can see right there, you can plug in your wiring harness that would normally plug into your trailer, and then that will give me a plug with a cover on the outside, and I can just plug my trailer into that. Not sure if I'm going to install the plug or not. We'll see how the wiring harness install goes, and we'll go from there. Now, to install this harness, of course, the first thing I've got to do is clean all my junk out of there, and then we got to take the panels on each side off so we can have access to the tail light harnesses to plug that T-harness in. And then the cable that plugs into the trailer, I'm going to route down and underneath and out here, and either tie it up down here, or, as I was showing you, install that plug. Also, I'm saving this for last, and you'll see why. I have to have a hot wire ran from here up to the battery. That's going to be difficult. These Rav4s have a complete plastic underbody, so we got to be able to fish that through there, plus it's tight working under a car. Not sure how much of that you can see, but there's the plastic underbody under the car, and hopefully I won't have to drop all that down to run that one hot wire from the front. So first things first, let's get all this stuff cleaned out of the back. Got all the plastic panels out, all the stuff out of the back that I can get out without tools. So let's get the rest of it taken care of. Now, to get these side panels off, we got a 14mm here, 10mm here, got a plastic clip here, and also one 10mm bolt right back here. And you'll need an extension to get to that one. And before we take the panels off, we got to take this panel off in the back. It's just got a couple of Phillips screws in it. The next thing we got to take off is this plastic molding along the back here. Now to get these side panels out, I'm going to grab underneath of them, pull up, try to get a little space here, pull out at the top, and then they will just pop right out. And whenever you get this one on the passenger side pulled out, there's a plug back here for this light that's in your trunk. Push down on the top of it, pull it out. Alright, I've got my wiring harness laid out here. Now this wiring harness is called a T-harness, and the reason why it's called that is because you tee into the wiring harness for your brake lights. This will only go one way, but basically you unhook the harness to your brake lights, plug this in one end, and then the harness going to your brake lights, plug in the other end. Alright, I'll get you in here and show you how this thing works. Now, this is the wiring harness that goes to your tail lights. Push the tab on the top, pull the harness out. Now your T-harness has a plug that your wiring harness going to your tail lights will fit into. Plug that in till it snaps. Plug the other end back into the harness where the tail light wiring harness was plugged in at. Plug it in till it snaps. Same thing here on the driver's side. I'm gonna unplug the tail light harness. Plug it into the T-harness, plug the other side of the T-harness back where the tail light wiring harness was. Now I'm going to try to hide this green one that goes to the passenger side right along here, and then we'll put the cover back over it, and same thing for the other side. Now to mount the black box, it comes with a piece of double-sided tape. And stick that on the back and stick this box in here. Now I've seen some people mount this on the floor down here. That's a little tight on my wiring. Really don't like that. So I'm going to mount mine up in this area. Got that mounted, ended up mounting it up here out of the way. The next thing we need to do is ground it. Alright, so the white wire with the ring terminal on it is ground, and they give you a self-tapping screw. And one thing you need to be aware of, do not run this screw into this part of the vehicle. That's the outside, and you're going to run the screw all the way to the outside. That would be bad. But down here you have some double walled stuff that is not on the outside, and even if it was, it's behind the bumper. So if you're going to use this self-tapping screw, make sure you do it down here where it's not going to run through to the outside and damage the outside of your vehicle. And next, to get my plug to the outside, right down here is a rubber grommet, and mine has wiring already in it. So if you do this, be careful and don't cut your other wiring, but I've cut a slit in that. And I'm going to try to get this plug down through that slit. There we go. Now I've seen other people cut notches in this grommet and just kind of slit the whole thing all the way out to the side. To me, that's probably likely to leak. So what I did was just cut a slit on the inside of the grommet, ran my cables through there. That way the grommet can still seal to the body, and it partially seals to the wiring harness also. And next is the part I've been dreading, and that's running that wire from the front. Got to do it. Alright, here's the wiring harness that came with it. Basically that's got to connect to the positive side of the battery, go down back here to the bottom, run along the underside of the car, and up in the back there where we were working at in that same grommet. Now there's probably no way I'm going to be able to film this under the car. So what I'll do is go ahead and get this ran under the car, and then I'll bring you back and show you where I ran it at. That ran up through the grommet. So now all I got to do is attach this to the black wire on the box, attach the connector to the battery, put the fuse in, put it back together. Now this came with butt splice connectors to put on this. I'm not going to use them. They're these plastic kind that you mash on there. I don't like those. I've got some waterproof ones. I'll put those on there. All right, got this all connected up, ready to go. Got the fuse put in it. Now we just got to test it. And you want to make sure you test everything. Make sure it still works before you put it all back together. All right, everything's working good. I'm going to put it all back together. It's all just the reverse of how it came apart, so it shouldn't be a big deal. I'll bring you back whenever we get it all back together, and I'll hook it to the camper. And we'll test the camper out and make sure all that works. There we go, guys. We got lights. Now I didn't hook up that plug on the back. As you can kind of see, sun's setting, run out of time. I might get to that tomorrow sometime. But anyway, I'm glad we got the lights hooked up. Now all that's left to do is go camping. All right, guys, I appreciate you watching. Hopefully you learned something. And now if you have a Rav4 and you need to install a wiring harness for a trailer, you'll know how to do it. If you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button. Also subscribe and hit that notification bell. And while you're doing all of that, I think you should watch this video.